Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jon Exman again, and I'm coming to you from the kitchen table and getting ready to share the beginnings of Holy Week with you. It's hard to believe, but yesterday was Palm Sunday, and today is Holy Monday. And a lot of people don't understand the significance of Holy Monday. But I ask you this question. Can you imagine what it felt like, especially for the disciples, on that Monday, right after Palm Sunday? On Saturday, Jesus had been with Lazarus, and had Lazarus rise out of the tomb and rise out of the grave. We're going to be talking about that on Easter Sunday at church, at Resurrection Sunday, that Jesus is the I am of the resurrection. And then on Sunday is the Palm Sunday, where he enters in on the parade into Jerusalem. And so how did they feel on that Monday? This is all a fulfillment of prophecy. Maybe you know or don't know that Zechariah 9:9 talks about that and says, "Rejoice greatly, daughter Zion. Shout, daughter Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." The disciples had followed Jesus for 3 years at this point. They had witnessed all the different miracles that he had made, but more importantly, they had been with him virtually almost every hour of every day. They knew this man. Peter had even declared him to be the Messiah, the Son of the living God. And so their hearts must have almost been overflowing with expectation, because here Jesus came, entering into Jerusalem. They were the first to throw their cloaks on the donkey and have that donkey for Jesus. If you remember, Jesus said, go to this man and go get the donkey, go get the foal of the donkey for me and bring it for me. But they were indeed not alone in their celebration. Many celebrated the king's coming into Jerusalem, and they also then too followed what the disciples did. They threw their own cloaks on the ground. They grabbed branches of trees. We assume that those were branches of palms. They placed them on the path, and they placed them on that royal pathway, and they yelled out, "Hosanna! Hosanna is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna! Blessed is the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. Blessed is the King of Israel." This is this wonderful moment on Palm Sunday, and it was this triumphant entrance. But what happened then on Holy Monday? How did they feel? What was it like? Their expectation was for a conquering king. That's what the people wanted. They wanted freedom from their slavery in Rome. Little did they expect what would begin that very next day on Monday. But Jesus knew. He knew he would fulfill every promise, every Old Testament prophecy, and it was coming down to the final week, Holy Monday, the second day of what we now call Holy Week. And so here, all this was ready to take place. So upon this celebration on Sunday, the Pharisees had ordered Jesus to silence the crowd's praises. And then only 5 short days later, Pilate would be unable to silence them, calling for Jesus to be crucified. So it's worth asking that question. If it's called holy, what truly was that moment about? And it began right in the morning. Upon leaving Bethany that next morning, Jesus and the disciples passed a fig tree that was full of leaves, but bore no figs, completely fruitless. Since the tree could have been expected to bear fruit just 2 months or so later, there should have been at least unripe fruit to eat, but there was nothing. Jesus cursed the tree for being fruitless, and it withered the next day. He was about to judge a generation of those who practice rites and rituals of a fruitless religion. sound like something maybe that we see now? All these rites and rituals of a godless world, of a world that's concentrating on all the wrong things, of a world that doesn't care any more about God and doesn't fear the Lord our God, of a world that just literally wants to do its own thing. Well, Jesus took that moment to teach the disciples about genuine faith. In fact, he even said that such faith would be the size of a mustard seed, a little tiny mustard seed, but still that faith could move mountains. And so, after the fig tree, he proceeded to the courtyards around the temple. He found utter irreverence for the Lord's house of prayer. All the people there were just acting unlike they should be acting. And so on that Holy Monday is when he overturned the tables for the money changers doing business, driving them out and accusing them of making his Father's house a den of thieves. The purpose of the money changers was to provide a service to the pilgrims traveling to celebrate Passover that week, but who could not bring their own animals for sacrifice or needed to exchange currency. That's what that was for. But the temple leadership there at that time was notoriously corrupt, and Jesus said, enough. So his rebuke of the money changers was clearly directed in the right place. And then following this, he spent the rest of the day teaching in and around that same temple courts. Think of what it felt like for the disciples. The tension, it must have been something that you could cut with a knife. As Jesus was continuously confronted by the same chief priests, teachers of the law, and elders, they constantly challenged his authority. They tried to trick Jesus into breaking Roman law. He used many parables in his teaching, simple stories that he just wanted people to understand what he was about. And so here on this day, it was much the same. Little did they know what was about to happen. Little did they know that after this great Sunday and Holy Monday of Jesus cleaning house and sharing of what he was about, of what was about to take place in the coming days and hours. Why didn't they know? Why didn't they hear? The Bible teaches us that Jesus says, have you not known? Did you not hear? Why can't you understand? It's like one of my favorite movies, The Back to the Future. Hello, McFly. Pay attention. Why aren't you paying attention? Why don't you hear me when I tell you who I am? And so I ask you that question again. What do you think they were feeling? They had just had this huge moment. And now, this Monday. We don't like Mondays. Mondays often are considered to be the blahs. But this was anything blahish about what Jesus was doing. He was establishing again who he was and who he was to each of us. The coming judgment was coming. A Monday like no other. If the religious leaders and teachers of the law had been worried about Jesus before, oh boy, were they worried after Monday. They were infuriated with all the things that he had did on that day. Turning over the temple tables, telling them to get out, teaching others about him. They were infuriated and they wanted him dead. He was a threat to their way of life directly, and so the stage was set. That's what Monday was. The stage being set and Christianity under attack. Well, I sit here today with you at that kitchen table, again, thinking the stage is set. Holy Monday is ending, and Holy Week has begun. We begin the journey to the cross, and we end at the grave. A grave where the most wondrous thing occurs of all, a resurrection. Come with me this week as we talk, as we share. I'll be back on later days to give you more info about this wondrous week and what it means to us as we prepare our hearts for his return, just as they were told to do on that Holy Monday. It's good to see you. This is From the Kitchen Table. This is Jon Exman from Central Trinity, and we'll be back with you later in the week.